Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I was taking a break from making videos and I was on the internet and perusing around, and I came across a channel that I'm subscribed to. They're subscribed to me as well, and he basically made a video talking about the Brompton, or giving his thoughts on the Brompton. And today what we're going to do is we're going to react to that video. This should prove to be interesting. To give you a little bit of historical context, me and this guy subscribed to each other's channels about the same time. He made cycling content, I made cycling content. We were really small channels. We didn't get very many views. And for a time, we commented on each other's videos and watched each other's videos. But for the most part, we haven't been doing that in the last 6 months or so. His content kind of changed over to more van life type of content, and I'm not really interested in that. But every time he makes a cycling video, I'll watch it. And he doesn't really comment on my videos. I don't even know if he watches my videos, but every once in a while he will pop in and leave a comment. And he left a comment on one of my Brompton videos expressing his opinion about the Brompton, which is perfectly fine. Obviously, he doesn't like the Brompton. Obviously, it's not his cup of tea, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Everybody has a right to their opinion. Everybody can express their opinion. There's no problem with that. But after he left a comment, he went on his channel and made a video about his thoughts on the Brompton, and I watched it. He knew I'd watch it because I'm subscribed to his channel, so anytime he makes a video, it pops into my feed. So I watched the video. It was quite antagonistic. It was kind of insulting in some ways. He was very condescending. I mean, he's entitled to his opinion, okay? He's definitely entitled to his opinion, but he said a lot of factually incorrect things in his video, and that's what I want to address in my video. So we're going to react to this video, but before we do, I want to make it very, very clear that this is not a hate video. It's not a bullying video. It's just simply me responding to what this guy said, because I feel, and normally I wouldn't do that, but I feel that what he was saying was more directed towards me kind of in a negative way. I just find it kind of convenient that he left a comment on one of my videos and then soon after that went and made his own video about the Brompton. So in a lot of ways, I feel like he was kind of directing what he was saying towards me specifically, and that's why I feel like I have to respond to it. But with that being said, I don't condone anybody going over to his channel, leaving a bunch of hate comments. I know you guys wouldn't do that. I mean, most of you guys are mature enough to understand that that's not the proper response to that kind of an action. But I'm just making that clear. I don't want it to be misconstrued in any way that that's what I'm advocating for. I'm not. I'm just responding to this video. So let's get into it. First off, let's just take a look at the guy's thumbnail right here. Now, I don't know about you, but I've bought a lot of bikes in my day. I've had thousands of bikes. I've ridden thousands of bikes. And every time I go to a bike store and I'm sitting on the bike for the first time and I'm looking at it and I'm kind of getting a feel for it and I'm test riding it, the last thing that's on my mind is whether that bike is going to get me laid or not. That doesn't even cross my mind. I don't think it crosses many of your guys' mind. Conversely, I've never heard of a woman or ever seen a woman that will look at a guy's bike and say, well, that guy's got a goofy looking bike. I'm definitely not giving him any. But anyway, let's get into the video. I'm sure we'll acquire many pearls of wisdom on this one.
Good morning. It's about 5 in the a.m. here, 5:30. Sitting here with my cup of coffee, prepared to talk about Brompton bicycles today. Mini bikes, folding bikes, miniature bikes, clown bikes. No, I'm not here to upset the Brompton people.
Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing. You're here to upset the Brompton people. You're ticked off that there's a lot of interest in these bicycles. You looked on my channel and all these people are excited about bicycles. All these people are talking about their experience with the bicycles. And for some reason, I don't know why, it rubbed you the wrong way. You're making this video specifically to take jabs, take shots at the Brompton people, to anger the Brompton people. Most of us don't care what you think. This bicycle is obviously over your head. You don't understand it. And when people don't understand something, usually one of two things happens. They lash out at it or they make fun of it, one or the other. And you just happen to decide to make fun of it. But just be honest about it though, man. You're making the video to piss off the Brompton people. That's your intent. That's the whole purpose of your video.
My thoughts on Bromptons. I've had a Brompton and a Dayhan. A Dayhan is basically a folding bicycle, but a modern version. I think I don't know what the history is with Dayhan.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
A modern version. My Brompton's from 2020. That's as modern as it gets, man. What are you even talking about? I tell you what, it's like Dayhan is a different manufacturer. That's what it is. It's just a different manufacturer. Dayhan is the largest folding bike manufacturer in the world. They cater to the more mid-level to low-level price range people. That's what Dayhan really caters to. They do have some high-end bikes that are as expensive, if not more expensive than the Brompton, but for the most part, their bread and butter is from the lower-end market, whereas Brompton caters more to the higher-end market. But basically, they're different manufacturers. That's it. One's not more modern than the other one. I don't even know what the heck you're talking about.
But my thoughts on Brompton. So I rode both of them, and I owned both of them very shortly. The one I owned probably for a few weeks to a month, the Dayhan.
Okay, I wish you would clarify a little bit about what you mean by I got the Dayhan. There isn't just one Dayhan. I mean, Brompton has pretty much been the same since the beginning. They made minor tweaks and improvements over the years. There are different little options you can get, like handlebar options, seat options, gearing options. But for the most part, the Brompton is the same bicycle. Dayhan isn't just one bicycle. They have many models of bicycles. They've been making them since 1982, so they have quite a few different models. What one are you talking about, man? At least clarify a little bit.
Now, riding them around, if you have a short commute up to the store or something like that, there's a place for those bicycles.
The reason why people like the Brompton is because it checks so many of the boxes. Does it check all the boxes? Can it do everything? Obviously it can't. You can't take it hardcore mountain bike riding. You're not going to be able to ride it in sand like you can a fat bike maybe. But it checks so many of the boxes, okay? So there isn't just this little time and place, like this one little event or this one little circumstance that you're going to use the bike in. That's not the case with the Brompton. Brompton fits a wide variety of different applications, and it fits most people's lifestyle. So you really don't even know what the heck you're talking about here.
A lot of people promote the whole, well, I can take the bike on a train, I can take it on this, or I can take it inside of a store. That's fine and all, but they're not as compact as you would think. They still take up quite a bit of room. They're still quite bulky, of course, compared to a full-size bike. Pushing it somewhere, they're not.
How small do you want this bike to fold up? This isn't the Jetsons, okay? It isn't going to fold into the size of a cigar box. It's a bicycle. But for a bicycle, it folds up as small as anything I've ever seen. In fact, I think it is the smallest folding bike on the planet. So what more do you freaking want, man? There are limits to engineering.
But they're not as compact and as great as you would think. I had a bag for mine. And so, I mean, you could fold it up, and even putting it in the bag, don't get me wrong, I could throw it in the back seat of a car, but it wasn't that compact. Bringing it onto a bus, I mean, it takes up some room.
I really don't think you know what you're talking about, buddy. I really don't. I think you just decided to turn on the camera today and talk out your ass. That's personally my opinion, because I've taken this on a bus. In fact, let's go ride a bus and see how compact this bicycle actually is. I don't know about you guys, but to me that seemed like it fit perfectly fine. It didn't take up a lot of room. I was able to carry it on the bus very easily. It's not that bulky. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know, if you're just maybe commuting around the city, if you're traveling or something, and you want something to just pedal around, I mean, most likely you won't have to worry about anybody stealing it because they don't understand. They don't understand what it is. They're like, "Is this a child's bike?" So
You won't have to worry about anybody stealing it, as I've mentioned in previous videos, because you can fold it up and take it with you. You're not going to be leaving it outside. At least most of us are not going to be leaving our bicycles outside. And on top of that, most people are very curious about this bicycle. They come up to me, they ask me questions about it. I tell them how great of a bicycle it is and how much fun I have on it and how useful it is in my life. I don't know anybody that goes, "I don't even know what that is. Is that a child's bike?" Nobody says that. Not one person has ever said that to me.
the wheels, there's another one, tiny wheels on them, you know.
What does that have anything to do with it? It doesn't really even matter. Wheel size doesn't even matter as much as a lot of people like to think it does. 1984 Olympic gold medalist road cyclist Alexei Greywall pointed out that smaller tires are actually more efficient than larger tires on a bicycle. Up to 15, 16 miles an hour, I think he said. After 16 mile an hour to about 30 miles an hour, they're as efficient as larger road bike wheels. And then above 30, 33 miles an hour, then yes, the larger wheels are more efficient. But like, how many people do you know that can go over 33 miles an hour on a bicycle? But for the most part, Brompton is going to do just as well as a regular bicycle in that regard. It has nothing to do so much with the little tires. It has to do with the gearing. It has to do with your legs. It has to do with the weight of the bicycle, rolling resistance, wind resistance. All those things you have to take into consideration. But for the most part, the little wheels don't make that much of a difference.
So, I mean, you can do, there people tour on the Bromptons. I mean, there's a nut out there for everything. But practically, and just if you're wanting to carry a good amount of weight, or if just, you know, comfortability, they're just not for me.
A regular road bike can't carry that much weight. Okay, just depends on how the bike is set up. My commuter bike is designed to carry a lot of weight. Okay, and I think its maximum is 300 pounds, including the rider. It really depends on what kind of rims you're running. It depends on a lot of factors. Brompton, including the rider, you can ride about 240 pounds, okay? You can carry a decent amount of weight. People have overloaded these bikes touring with them with huge backpacks and all kinds of gear, and they still were able to perform nicely, okay? Brompton doesn't recommend you do that, but I mean, people have done it and had no problem whatsoever. So weight is not a freaking issue. Comfortability is not an issue because I've rode this bike myself 88 miles in one setting. And I know that I was just as comfortable on it as I've ever been on any of the thousands of bikes I've ever owned. Seats and handlebars are two of the biggest things that determine whether you're going to be comfortable on a bike. Geometry, yes, but seats and handlebars are two of the biggest things that can be changed out on any bike. And that's no different with the Brompton. You can get whatever handlebars that you feel comfortable with riding, and you can get whatever seat you feel comfortable with riding. I don't know what you're talking about with comfortability because you can make any bike comfortable with a few modifications.
So all you Brompton people out there that love your Bromptons, that's fine. I'm not here to change, you know, I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just, you know, telling you what I think about them. I don't think they're a practical bike. I just think they're a novelty bike.
Really. In many ways, this Brompton is way more practical than a full-size bike. So when you're saying it's not practical, I don't even really think you understand what that actually means.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I'm not going to change these diehard, you know, Bromptos, you know, about their bikes and stuff. And I don't want to. I think everybody should ride, have fun, do what you want to do. But I just think they're silly. That's my opinion. I've owned them.
Okay, guys, let's think about this for a second. Let's logically think about this for a second. He said the bikes look like a clown bike. He says it looks silly. Bromptons are not cheap bikes, okay? If you buy a used one online, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be paying $1,000 or better for it, even for a used one. Are you going to even buy a bicycle that you think looks completely silly for an expensive amount of money? I'm just going to give you my opinion. I don't believe this guy ever owned a Dayhan, and I don't believe he ever owned a Brompton. He has very strong opinions towards the bicycle. You can see that. They look silly. It's a clown bike. Well, if that were the case, then why would you buy one? You can't go and buy a Brompton for $200, man. You can't just go on Craigslist and, oh, there's a Brompton for $175. I'm going to buy it. Usually, even used market, these bikes hold their value very well and they're expensive. Okay. And if you're going to spend that kind of money, why would you spend that kind of money on a bicycle that you think looks like a clown bicycle? It doesn't add up to me. I don't think you ever owned a Brompton. I don't think you ever owned a Dayhana. I just think you're saying that because you think it gives you some sort of credibility to talk about what you're talking about. That's what I believe. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But it doesn't sound like you ever owned a Brompton to me, buddy.
I think that they're cool to ride around, like in the city. You know, if you had a shop or something and you want to go get coffee in the morning, or, you know, or I don't know, just little commutes are great. Long rides, no. Traveling, no. Commuting, to me, no.
Lots of people tour on the Brompton. Lots of people go for 100-mile rides on the Brompton. I've done up to 88 miles on my Brompton, and I didn't have any problem, and it did just as good as any bike I ride. And I know this for a fact because I've actually done it, okay? You're saying, oh, it's not good for long rides, but you've never taken yours on a long ride. I guarantee it. I don't even believe you ever owned a Brompton, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. But regardless, it does very good on long rides. Commuting, to me, no. I commute every day on it, and it's a very, very convenient bike to have, especially since I don't have to leave it outside in the elements, the rain, the snow, and I can bring it inside where it can be protected and nobody's out there, finger banging my bike and messing with it. You know, I don't have to worry about any of that stuff, so it makes a great commuter. And what are you saying, travel? I mean, do you even listen to what you're saying, dude? You're just like, traveling, no. Commuting, no. It is a perfect travel bike. That's what the freaking thing was designed for. What the heck are you even talking about? The levels of just ignorance here is just like out of the stratosphere right now. Man, I just think you're just trolling. You're not even thinking about what's actually coming out of your mouth.
Joining the circus, yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. The circus. Join the circus with the bike. Like I said, he's being perfectly antagonistic. He thinks it's funny. He thinks it's just a joke. He's calling you clowns. All you Brompton owners, he's calling you clowns. You know, it's not that you're riding a bicycle that he doesn't understand. You're riding a bicycle that fits into your lifestyle. It's not about any of that. It's a goofy looking bike to him. So everybody that rides one, they should join the circus.
I think if you own a Brompton, you should also own a unicycle. You should be required to have a unicycle as well that you should carry on the back of your Brompton.
Okay, we're not going to watch any more of this. All he does is go on about circus and unicycles, and he's just basically trying to insult the Brompton community is what he's doing, and I don't even want to watch any more of this video. As a cycling community, we all know that we have differences. We all have preferences, but we all respect each other because we're all fellow cyclists. This guy right here is making fun of a group of people because he doesn't understand it. A better thing for him to have done is just gave his thoughts on the Brompton and not been so antagonistic about it. But he decided he wanted to be antagonistic and he wanted to take cheap shots and say a lot of the rude things that he was saying. And that's perfectly fine. He can do that. I won't be subscribing to his channel because I don't like rude people. I don't like condescending people. I tend to watch people that are respectful of others, and that guy definitely wasn't being respectful at all. As a cycling community, we all need to stand together and we all need to respect each other's differences. I think that is the best way to go. But anyway, enough with that. If you guys have any comments or questions, leave it in the comment and questions section. Slap a like on the video if you like it, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.